Hi guys, good evening, hope you're all well. Just checking in to say a big hi and a big thank you to all you guys who joined us last night. It was an amazing night. We went up to Halsham House in Hull, and like I say, it was an amazing evening with you guys who joined us, as well as the people who followed us on our live feed as well. For anyone who's watching right now, my name's Neil Cook. I'm a spirit medium and I work with GSI Paranormal. My partner and manager Vicky Hardy, as well as our other team members as well. Good evening Nicole, hope you're well, and good evening Kieran, hope you're well buddy. I'm doing well, thank you. Getting there, got some more tests to do at the hospital to give me the thumbs up. Good evening Sheila Richardson, hope you're well. For those who've been following this channel and they know we've been having problems with our live stream, what I've done this evening is done a couple of hours worth of test on the PC which is in the front room. We have two PCs, one's the main one for editing and other things, and then we have a home entertainment PC which is in the front room, and we use that for our photography work. Now it appears that the webcam I'm using right now doesn't seem to work correctly on the PC in the other room. There's an audio issue. But when I'm using the PC in the front room with the same webcam, it seems to be working. So after rerouting my broadband and doing a lot more things, it seems to be not my network, not my router, but the webcam is not working correctly with my more advanced PC. So anyway, let's hope I'm up and running. David Anderson, thank you for joining us. Yes, we're both well, thank you. I'm running solo tonight, so I may miss some comments. I'll see if I can bring them up, or if I have the capability of reviewing them as we speak. Let's have a look. No, they're flying off the screen, so I'll try and watch the comments at the same time, which means you'll find my eye movement slightly off path to the webcam. Yes, for those who were with us last night, Michael McIver, Michael Smith, Helen Steele, David, one of our friends, our friend Jan, and Vicky, and Jamie, who came along to do the video side of things. And it was an amazing night. Good evening Linda, hope you're well. Alan Willis, hope you're well. But yes, we had an amazing night. We were up at Halsham House in Hull, or down from our location. It's a very spooky, kind of eerie looking place. It's featured on Most Haunted, which I wouldn't believe everything you saw on that programme, because we had a different experience altogether. Yes, is spirit there? Yes, it is. Yes, is there something paranormal there? Very much so. We each all had an individual experience there, me connecting to spirit and these guys working with the paranormal equipment. It was an eventful night. We were there 7 hours if only, and we really enjoyed ourselves, we did. If you're new to this channel guys, first time watching, then please like and share. The more people you share to, then the bigger audience it hits, and we then get more interaction on this page. If you haven't seen me before, then my name's Neil Cook, I'm a spirit medium, and this is our paranormal channel, GSI Paranormal. Josephine Northover, thank you for joining us. Hope you're well, hope you're healing. I just want to say a big thank out to you guys, a big shout out should I say to you guys. As you know, I took ill a couple of days ago. I'm still on the mend. I was discharged from hospital pending further investigation and tests, and hopefully Monday or Tuesday tomorrow I should know a little bit further where I'm at with a sudden illness. Nothing to worry about. I'm not worried, so you guys no need to worry, but thank you for all your love, healing and everything else you sent my way. Mandy, good evening, hope you're well, thank you for sharing. Josephine, you'll hear my TV beeping in the background, that's just notifying me you guys are sharing. Like I say, my normal setup is in another room with all the gadgets, but it's just not working in there for some reason, and it's working fine in here, or at least I think it is anyway. Thank you for sharing, guys, much appreciated. I'm by myself tonight. Vicky's engaged in something else. Thank you for joining, Michael. If there's anything you want to share with us, anything you want to ask, anything you want me to answer for you guys, then feel free. I'm just going to grab my TV remote and mute the sound on the TV. In the meantime, you can enjoy my spirit guide behind me. 2 seconds, guys. There we go. I'm back and volume muted, so it shouldn't distract me. Colette, good evening. Hope you're well. Yes, I'm getting there, Colette. Still pending further tests for a sudden illness. All will be revealed soon. We're just waiting to see what the specialists say after I've had a few tests. Nicola, good evening. Hope you're well. Yes, Vicky is contributing to this live stream. I can see you answering some of the questions. We've got some video footage to come very, very soon. It was what we caught last night, and what I mean by caught, I mean captured different things we were doing, different experiments we were doing using the K2, our brand new Seek thermal imaging camera. If you're not familiar with a thermal imaging camera, at this moment in time, and I'm not getting paid for this advert, Amazon are selling the Seek thermal imaging camera, which is the exact same version that Ghost Adventurers use for £179 English pound. It's an amazing piece of kit. It clips onto your mobile phone. It supports the majority of new phones. It does also support the old Galaxy S4, because we tried it on that as well, and I know that's quite a popular phone as well, and people are still using it. And we put it to its field test last night. It really worked well. It has a lot of palettes to it, and what I mean by that is there's a lot of different types of screen. You can see the type of image what the police would use when looking for thermal imaging on a grey background, or you can use it in full colour, and then you'll see all the heat signatures as well. You also get to see the actual temperature of where the main point of the camera is pointing, so it'll tell you if it's pointing at a person 32 degrees, and then the outside of the image will show you different cold spots. It's ideal for detecting cold spots because they show up like a dark blue or cold purple, and obviously the hotter the things are, then the more red these items are. So yeah, it was an amazing night, amazing people. We really enjoyed it. We spent 7 hours there, a couple of hours travelling down south, but yeah, we thanks to our cameraman Jamie, who was putting it all together for us again, just like he did for the Fox. Then you're going to get to see some amazing footage. I'm not saying we had a spectacular night with regards to spirit interaction, but it was certainly there, and I can say it's nowhere near as what Most Haunted made it to be. There was no swinging chandeliers, there was a lot of doors opening and shutting, and pictures actually getting moved on the wall, and not only was my spirit connection really good with what our Janet research prior to me going there, I pretty much hit the nail on the head. And the good thing about that is I was also on very strong painkillers, which kind of affected me mood, not only my connection with spirits, but obviously my well-being as well. If I didn't perform to how I normally do last night, guys, then I can only apologise, but it was down to the medication. But we got some good feedback anyway. Going to try and come on the next one. Yes, Nicola, please do. I know you love being called Nicola. It was a great night. I'm sure Michael hasn't shut up talking about it. It was really good. And yes, the child in the attic. I went to this location blind, and what I mean by that is I had a media blackout to everything our guys were looking into, organising and researching, and I did my utmost best to kind of make sure that my thoughts weren't contaminated with what these guys were talking about, even to the extent that when we got to the location, I kept outside until the paranormal side of it was discussed with the homeowner, and then once we were all set up, I went in and then started with a fresh mind, no contamination up here, and brought everything to the table. When we were working in the attic, now the attic was once a attic which was out of bounds, but now it's been converted into more rooms for people sleeping there. I was made aware of a lady who kept coming to the top of the stairs, but she didn't actually step into the attic area. Now I do know, and I can say that the reason being is because in her time, on her timeline, the attic didn't exist. And what I mean is, it wasn't a place where you could occupy. It was one of them dark voids at the top of the house. Now, she came and she was quite upset, this lady. She told me her name was Elizabeth, and yes, it is documented on YouTube and some of these channels. And she was looking for a child. Although she knew where child was, she was giving me a symbolic sign, baby, by shaking her arms. And I was also shown an image of a child being wrapped in a purple cloth. This cloth would have had a kind of Celtic cross on it with gold gilding, and I was seeing this small infant wrapped in this child. And with my connection to my spirit guide Phil up here, and connecting to this young lady, she told me that she laid a child in the attic wrapped up in this cloth because her child had passed to spirit. How the child had passed, I'll never know, but what we do know, that this child was placed in the attic. And our team went on to say that on the restoration of this property and the attic being converted into a living space, these bones were found in that attic. So yeah, some amazing facts from spirit telling their history, which that's all paranormal is. They tell us all about their story, which is a history lesson in my eyes. So yeah, it was a really, really good night with lots of interaction. Some of the things came to the table as well. Some things they just couldn't answer, I picked up on spirit, but they've gone away to research that, and I'm sure we'll find the reasons why spirit were giving us this information. Sounds like a really good night, Sheila. It would have been something you'd have liked, a kind of different side of the paranormal. It wasn't kind of the mainstream running around looking for spirit and shouting, "Are you there?" It was a very much laid back. It was an exclusive one we did. It wasn't one of these ones which was a public one, and it was a selected amount of people who could go. But yeah, it was more laid back, lots of laughter, lots of love, lots of cheer, and a good night of investigation, but without any pressure, if that makes sense. Nice laid back ghosting, and that's how it should be. And we love taking you guys out there with us. But with respect, I say this: when you take an audience, you have to keep them stimulated, because you don't want these people to kind of come off the boil. You don't want them to lose interest in what you're doing. And as you know, guys, we can't conjure up spirits. We can't guarantee that the most haunted location we go into is always going to play for us that night. Sometimes it's on a loop. It's playing in time at different times of the year, the months, and what have you. So we can't guarantee. It's hard to walk in there. It's hard to walk in there and have spirit perform for us. Just like mediums can't conjure up spirits to pass a message on. So the more laid back it is, the less stimulation you have to give to the group, the easier, because the individual person can then focus on what we're doing. So it really went well. It was. I want a K2 meter. All you have to do is go to your local hardware store, Julia. You can buy one of these from wherever you're watching from. We have a hardware store called Screwfix. It sells all the tools of the trade, from what an electrician to a plumber would use, and all that machine does is checks for electronic magnetic field. Now, the same gadget an electrician would use, and he'd hold it up against that wall, and before he drills a hole in the wall, he would check there was no electronic magnetic field, i.e. wiring running through the wall. And if he doesn't pick up on that, then he can drill a hole through that. Spirit also attract electronic magnetic field, as you're probably aware. Therefore, using the K2 in the field of paranormal really works for us as well. Some people have their doubts in this. Some people think that there's a lot of things can manipulate the tools we use, and I'm talking about the tools what the local hardware store use. But it's providing that you've done a walk around this location and you've done what we call a base test and checked for all the hot spots where you will get a reading of electricity in that area, maybe because there's a large consumer unit on the other side with electricity in, or you're checking for a cold spot, and the other side of the wall there could be a refrigeration unit or aircon unit. So yeah, we do them base checks, and once we know that place, that room, the area we're working in has a static temperature for a long period of time, then there's a good chance, if it's unexplainable, if the heat is sudden or the cold is sudden, then we put it down to paranormal if we can debunk that. Kathy Welsh, good evening. Guys, let us know where you're watching from. If you're not part of my world, UK, let me know what part of the country, if not the world, you were watching from. I will certainly give you a shout out and give you a good evening, good morning and afternoon. It's good to see some new faces as well. Lisa, thank you for joining as well. Like I say, this is normally a live stream where I will do answers and questions. If you really want to ask something, you really like this picture behind me, this is my spirit guide, Karen. This is Phil. This is the portrait on canvas of Phil. Phil is my Texan cowboy. He's a spirit guide where we shared the same life together in a previous life path. And my dog is going to knock the webcam. Oh, she's off. Cassie's trying to get as close to me, but I don't want her to knock where I've got this webcam purchased. Yes, Phil, my spirit guide, my Texan cowboy who looks after me. He was with us last night doing an amazing job. He was awesome, as he always is, and that's what they're there for. They're there to look out, not only to protect you, but guide you on your path in life as well. You're watching from Manchester, awesome, Karen. Watching from Cheshire, Colette, awesome. If there's any questions and answers, or should I say any questions, I'll do my utmost best to answer them with whatever the topic is. If there's anything you need to ask, share, please feel free to share. It's not going to be a long live stream, guys, unless you make it that way. All I was doing was a test to make sure I've nipped it in the bud with regards to the problems I've been having with my live stream. And for those who've just joined, I normally live stream from a different PC, from a different room, and I'm having a lot of trouble, I believe, with using this PC. It's a state-of-the-art PC, and I think it's too modern for my basic webcam. And as you've probably seen over the last couple of weeks, if not month, it's messed with the audio side of things. And although my webcam is a basic £50 webcam, which is HD, I think it's not strong enough for that PC. I maybe need to get myself a video capture card and start using a video recorder like a camcorder, and then stream the image from the camcorder onto the desktop and do it that way. Tracy Swan, good evening, thank you for joining us. Hope you're well. If you guys have got anything to share with me, then please do. If it's not the group you're part of, i.e. the paranormal world, then if it's something spiritual or something else, then now's your time to share that in the comments. We can do that. What do you think of haunted antique museums like the Warners and Zach Bagans? Is it possible for haunted objects? I genuinely don't believe that spirit can attach itself to the object where it becomes haunted, and I know the paranormal world all of a sudden is just start talking about haunted dolls and haunted objects and haunted boxes. I do believe spirit has an attachment to that item, and what I mean by that is something which was given to a person, and it was much loved for the duration of their life. As and when they leave this earth plane and move on to spirit, they have a physical attachment to this item, to the extent that they love this thing that much, then they come back and forth and their energy is kind of surrounding it. Medium will pick up on this through psychometry, and by holding and connecting to this device, they will be able to read the energy from this and then pass that information on. I don't believe in possession of a non-sensuous object like a doll, a box, a toy which belonged to a child. You have to remember, Hollywood makes everything more flamboyant and hyped up. And where we see the doll of Chucky chasing people down the street, we know that would never happen, otherwise we'd have heard from it. Now, with regards to an entity or a negative entity being attached to something, yes, I very much do believe in that, but that will not manipulate that object, where the object has some kind of power and it'll chase you down the street. It will be more of it surrounding that. Classic example, I've got a necklace which is hung around my mum's ashes, which are in the urn, and when I picked this necklace up, this was a necklace which is a pendant, and my mum wore it all the time. There was a picture of her mum in there, which is my nana, and this was an object from as long as I can remember, since my eyes opened on this earth plane, that I could see this pendant hanging around my mum's neck. Now, I'm now in possession of this. It's not worth a penny in weight. I don't even think it's of any valuable metal. It's probably made of tin with a cheap gold plating on it. But when I pick this item up, the energy which is attached to it, because enclosed in that pendant is a picture of my nana, and then my mum's energy is also attached to that, because my mum lost her mum at a very early age, so she kind of attached herself to this thing and never took it off her neck. Therefore, her energy alone surrounding this one object is immense, and I can hold on to this. And there's not much I don't know about my mum and the history of us being together, but energy is very much attached to that, and that's what I mean by attachment of energy rather than a possession of an item. As you know, sensuous is the only thing which can come back with the afterlife, as in a spirit, a ghost, a haunting, and people will say, why don't we have dinosaurs in spirit? Well, they weren't sensuous creatures, so they're not going to come back and make that communication. So I hope that answers the next question, which is probably going to get chat out there. Hello from Alabama. Wow, thank you for joining, Pamela. I guess it's early morning there, if not mid-afternoon. That's great. Yes, Hollywood movies do make money from haunted stuff. It's ever since the paranormal world sprung up in the UK, Karen, and it has been going a lot longer in the USA, across the pond. It's just become more flamboyant. Hollywood have to make it that way, so it pulls in an audience, and the silver screen is all about money. It's about bringing an audience in and paying amounts of money to watch their product. The paranormal world isn't like that. We go out as a non-profited group to raise the money to pay for the venue, and then show the skeptics, the believers, and anyone else what is out there and what we can do in this field. But yeah, never believe the newspapers, never believe what happened in Vegas, and never believe Hollywood when it comes to the movie world of things. But yeah, I genuinely believe there's some people out there with some items. Lee Steer and his group has a doll. It's a haunted doll, and what I mean by that is the energy of a person is attached to it, because this doll was what I called a mourning doll. At the passing of the child, this doll was laid. Elizabeth was laid with this child, and it was a mourning doll. It was, and this this item was then removed as the child was placed into the ground, and the mother's energy and the child's energy is very much attached to that. We've worked with that doll on this week. Last year we filmed an episode for Sky TV, which is on my YouTube channel on Spirit Medium Neil Cook. You'll see the full episode there, which was shown on Really TV and Showcase TV, of myself, Lee Steer, David Barrett, and even Vicky and Jan in the background on our adventures at a place called Penrith, which is near the Lake District, not too far away. But yeah, it was a good episode, good filming, and we brought this haunted doll with us, which has the attachment of energy to it. It was really good. Yes, mention my hand getting hurt. We asked Spirit last night to ask us to stop moving things around in the room. Now, this stately home was set out pristine with all its ornaments, some very expensive furniture, very elegant furniture within the room, very royalty looking to an extent, but very period at the same time. And we were aware that Spirit didn't want anything moving in this one room. So on the table, on the coffee table, there was lots of books, magazines. So we started to move them around, hoping with respect to Insight Spirit. And I kept moving this one book, bearing in mind this location used to be a school before it became a home, and it was also an almshouse as well, or almshouse as it may be pronounced. So it was a school and hospital, and then it became a grade 2 listed building and someone's home for many, many years later. And as I reached out to move this book, I felt a very stinging pain, which was across my ring finger here. And it initially felt like a burn, if though someone had put either a hot object, a cigarette, onto this part of my finger. And from instantly I got a welt, a raised area on my finger, which we're going to show you in the video footage later when it's released. And the only thing we can think of is the schoolmaster, whose energy was very much there. It probably either hit me sharp with a ruler or maybe a cane. And right across this finger, I had a huge red line across here. And it's like if you hit someone on the bare skin, you get that line across the skin, and it becomes a raised area, and it becomes extremely red. Fortunately, we were able to capture not only my reaction to something striking my hand, but the after effects as well. And you actually see this line appearing on my finger and rising. It was. What would be associated black shadows? I see them all the time again. Brush them off to be corner of my eyes. Karen, we're more likely to see Spirit out of our peripheral vision than we do full on directly in front of us. And I do believe that when we do see Spirit in front of us as an apparition, we don't always acknowledge it as being Spirit. It could be an energy passing us in the street which is attached to something else. Maybe it's following somebody, or it's attached to the land we're walking on. People seem to think shadow figures are something more demonic, something negative. I don't believe in demonic things, because nothing ever set on this earth plane demonic anyway. Negative, yes. And Spirit takes a lot of energy to create itself. It normally starts at some form of apparition, whether it be a shadow person, something out of our peripheral eye. Then we get the light as the energy is created, so we will see a light anomaly, some kind of linear line shooting from one area to the other, or we will see a partial apparition, and if we're very lucky, a full apparition. Now, although I've seen 2 apparitions in my world of mediumship working, most of my images of Spirit are given to me not only by my good friend Phil behind me, but by my symbolic eye as well, my third eye. So the chances of us seeing a full apparition would be very rare, it would. And like I say, sometimes people see these apparitions on a rare occasion and they don't even identify it as being that. But it's manifestation of spirit. I genuinely believe that it takes a lot of strength for spirit to not only show itself but to communicate and physically move things. It's not something which can easily be done. I get told this all the time by my spirit guide Phil. Phil is my in-betweener, and what I mean by that is, as I see and ask spirit a question, spirit hasn't always got that energy to answer me back. So I use Phil as my in-between, and he will build that energy between himself and the spirit person, and then he'll relay that information back. And some spirits I was trying to communicate last night with didn't have the energy to communicate full stop, and even my spirit guide Phil was struggling with this, and we just had to let them go. We knew they were there, they knew we were there, they were watching what we were doing. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that communication with them, but there was even one or two which couldn't even give us any information as well. They just didn't have the strength. There was a lot of residual energy there as well. So that is the kind of energy. We know it's there. It affects our equipment, but we can't always communicate with that because it's a loop in time. It is. Yes, you don't believe in it either. I said in a live stream a couple of weeks ago, if not last month, demonic, negative, evil, and everything else surrounding that concept, I believe, was created by the church. And prior to the church coming here, there was never any fear of what once walked on this earth. And this is why the majority of people at the end of their life, they took the transition to spirit, because they had no fears. It's only since 2017 years ago that we started to kind of come back and forth in limbo. We didn't move across to the light because we were given this mental image, and it was drummed into us because of our faith and beliefs through the church again, that we didn't want to pass over. So when it came to our end of our physical life and we were ready to move over into the afterlife, a lot of us didn't take that option, and the reason being is because it was drummed into us that there was something negative there in the afterlife. And this is why, like Richard Felix said the other day in a live stream, this is why we only see modern ghosts now. And I speak modern of the last 2017 years ago, and we don't see cavemen ghosts because there was no church to scare the Jehovah's out of them anyway. That's my theory, and it's others as well. Susan Ralph, thank you for joining. I'm going to wrap up for the night tonight. Let's have a look. I haven't got a time on the screen to say how long I've been on. All I wanted to do, guys, is give you a big thank you for the healing and prayers sent to me in my short bout of illness. I'm on the mend. I'm back at the hospital hopefully tomorrow or the next day. I'm just waiting for an urgent appointment. I'm still walking, able to breathe and everything else, so I'll be with you a long time from now. Thank you for joining, guys. All the love and healing you have sent, thank you very much. Thank you for your interaction. I know it's only been a short time, but like I said, I just wanted to make sure this little camera pointing at my nose now was working properly, and it appears to be that. I'm assuming you've all heard my voice crystal clear. If you have, then give me the thumbs up for the 7 people who are now watching. I'll bid you good night, guys. Stay safe. Please feel free to leave any other comments in this live feed. I do know that the majority of my audience is always after the live stream because people come across it over the next few days. And if you're one of them people and you've got to this point, this was videoed on Sunday at 8 o'clock on the evening. So have a good day, guys, wherever you're watching from this part of the world or the other. Stay safe and keep sending that love and light out, guys. I'll leave you with that, guys. Have a great night. And I'm just going to hit the finish button, which is right away over there on the TV. It's a good job I've got good eyesight. Good evening, Josephine. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us, Sheila. Be safe, wrap up warm. There's some cold weather on the way. Hope you're well, guys. Take care.